Happy belated New Year. I'm sorry I haven't made a video for ages. I've been crazy busy, and to be honest, I've been waiting for the right opportunity to make a video that I feel is worth making. I am not what you would call a YouTuber. I'm an activist who uses YouTube, so I will only be making videos when I find a topic or a story that I deem necessary to make a video about. So sorry that it's taken me until February to make a video. It is the day after Valentine's Day. I've got my roses here. How lucky am I? I've got my gay Valentine card. Shall I keep the roses in the frame just to really show off? I think I should. Just move them over marginally there. So the inspiration from this video actually came from Wentworth Miller, who I follow on Facebook, and he shared an article recently, and I'll put the link to the article below this video, about how to cope with being gay when you are unable to come out. And this is something I feel quite passionately about. As much as I will preach to you that coming out is the right thing to do in the long term and that you will feel better in yourself and life will begin to fall into place after you come out, for some people that is not a reality. They may never come out, or their coming out journey may take a very, very long time. So if you are in the closet and you don't plan on coming out anytime soon, or even at all, and that is the case for some people, here are some tips that I have extracted from the article, and I'm going to kind of relate to my own story as well, that hopefully you will find helpful in terms of being healthy and maintaining a strong and positive mentality as much as you can, whilst having to hide your true sexuality from your friends, from your family, and to the outer world. So point number one that this article put forward is escape to fictional worlds with plenty of representation. By this, it means watch LGBT films, watch series with gay characters in them, read a book about gay characters, find a storyline or a character, a fictional plot that you feel you can relate to, that narrates your own kind of struggle. There weren't that many gay storylines, TV films when I was in the closet. I think there has fortunately been a bit of a proliferation of gay characters and gay storylines in the past, even kind of 4 or 5 years. So there's much more out there for you to interact with. I do remember coming across the series Pretty Little Liars and watching the character of Emily, who came out as gay in that, and I did get a bit of strength from that because she was more feminine looking, or at the time how I would have kind of defined as just a normal looking person, normal life, going to school, has friends, doing normal things as much as it can be normal in Pretty Little Liars. And that did help me a little bit. No, it didn't change my life, but it helped, and it was a source of hope, a little bit of hope for me. So point number 2 is wear subtle queer things. We all know how I feel about this word queer. Wear queer things that people like you will recognise, but other people probably won't. And yes, I think this is a good idea. I bought a rainbow, very, very subtle little rainbow bracelet. I used to wear that when I was in the closet, and it was almost a form of kind of empowerment for me when I went out, and I'd hoped that maybe someone somewhere would see it and maybe connect with me or see me for who I kind of truly was in my entirety. I don't think anyone actually did. No one ever came up to me and said, "Hey, nice bracelet, let's go for a drink." But it made me feel empowered. I still have the bracelet. It's actually on my dressing table in full sight, so I can see it every day. Although what's funny is that after coming out, I don't think I've ever worn it. I'm going to wear the bracelet next week as a sign of protest. So the next one is say it out loud to yourself when you know people won't hear you. And this is something I definitely did towards the end of my kind of closeted journey of hiding my sexuality. I did this in my car. I drove around for a long period of time with nowhere to go, just round and round in circles, and I couldn't even say it out loud to myself. I hated the word gay, lesbian. I couldn't, in many ways, identify with it. And I do remember exactly where I was, and I still pass that place most weeks of my life now. In the town where I live, I was driving and I managed to say out loud, "I'm gay." And actually, ridiculous and insignificant as that occurrence might sound, it did help, and it was almost like I was finally putting it out there to the universe, to myself. Yes, this is who I am, a major part of who I am, and it helps. So go out on a walk, on a drive, in your house, in your room, on your own, whisper it to yourself if you wish, and start to get used with saying it, because it does help in terms of self-identification. The next point is get a personal tattoo only you will see or understand the meaning of. I'm not a tattoo kind of person, but if that's your thing, go for it. Perhaps there's a quote you identify with or something like that that you feel might help you in some way. So feel free to go forward and do that if you are a tattoo kind of person. Next point, if it's appropriate, take part in queer spaces as an ally. And this is quite a good one because there are a number of people I've met at LGBT events who come forward and say they are straight allies. They're not gay, they're not bi, they're not trans, they are not in any way LGBT, they are purely heterosexual, but they are there just to support the cause and meet friends, which is great. And some of these people that I've met, a small number of them truly have been straight, and what great people they are to bother to come out and support our cause and interact with us, and I bow down to them and have immense respect for them. But a significant number of these people later down the line have actually come out in some capacity as gay or bisexual. So go along to an LGBT event and tell them you're straight, and just try and meet people and watch people and interact with people, and hopefully you'll feel more comfortable within yourself. And to be honest, when you go to an LGBT event, they do not vet you and screen you. You do not have to go through a machine that tells them whether you're gay or bi or straight. I don't think I've ever gone up to anyone and said, "Oi, you're straight, you're gay, what you doing here?" People are just mingling, interacting and socialising, so it's highly unlikely that someone's going to come up and question where you sit on the Kinsey scale of sexuality. The next point is to limit your time around people in your life who don't support the LGBT community. Now, this is a really difficult thing to do if your family are homophobic. How do you distance yourself from them if you live with them? They are your family at the end of the day. That's a complex situation. However, perhaps gaining more of your own independence, being out a bit more, perhaps when you get older, moving into your own place, you do need to distance yourself from people who are, extremely homophobic, because you'll never be able to fully accept yourself if you're in an environment that's constantly rejecting you and telling you that you are inferior or bad or a sinner. So I wouldn't advise you to reject your family, but I would advise you to be a bit kinder to yourself and allow yourself more time in safe zones as opposed to hostile zones. The next point is to write everything down. Again, this depends on who you are. I'm a writer, always have been since I was a little girl, and I'm a songwriter, so I really allowed myself to express kind of everything I was going through lyrics, through my songs. I was listening to one of the old songs I'd written actually earlier today, and one of the lyrics says something like, "The women I loved who didn't give a fuck, the pain made me whole, it became my blood." And that's kind of symbolic. I'm kind of saying that at different times I had feelings, or I fell in love with women and they didn't even see me because they were all straight, but that became a major part of who I was, and it made me a very strong person. So write your feelings down. Doesn't have to be in poetic form. Maybe start a journal or a diary. You need to let that anger and emotion and kind of loneliness out in some capacity. Check out an online forum. I think this is really good, and YouTube is excellent for that. You've got innumerable places you can go: Facebook groups, hidden groups, secret groups, online anonymous forums. I went on a couple when I was much younger. One I can't remember the name of, but I'll try and find it and pop the link below. And just being able to speak to people anonymously can be quite helpful. At the same time, don't be put off by responses. I remember the first time I posted anonymously online that I was gay and I needed help, and I hated it. The first response back I got was for me to kill myself. I did get a ream of responses after that, probably about 20 responses, being supportive and lovely and kind and compassionate, but the kill yourself response to me at the time as a very vulnerable, 21-year-old, however old I was, could be enough to topple people over the edge. So just be wary. The online world is a scary world. It's a world in which normal social interaction goes out the window. So if you get a bad response, you've got to toughen up, be a bit of a soldier and let it bounce and filter it out and just look for the responses you need to help you through. The next point is to find a therapist who knows LGBT issues. If you're really struggling, particularly with self-acceptance, see if you can speak to a counsellor at your school, your college, your university, or through a health service, wherever it may be, someone who can really help you, mentally. I never did this. I don't think I'm the counselling type, unfortunately, but in a way I helped myself through counselling other people. Even when I was first coming out, I made myself available online quickly, and I thought if I can speak to other people and understand what they're going through, I can kind of identify with that and almost help myself through helping them. But I have innumerable friends that have had counselling and said it's changed their life, so if you feel you need to speak to someone, please go forward and speak to someone. Again, you can speak to me. I'm not a certified qualified counsellor, but I am someone who can listen. If you want to vent to me, feel free. Another point recommended is to not be afraid to have a good cathartic cry once in a while. Obviously, it's not great if you're crying yourself to sleep every day, but once in a while, when you're feeling really stressed, when you've had a bad day, when you've heard something homophobic, perhaps from someone you respect, just cry, lock yourself away and cry it out. I did that many, many times. It has to be done sometimes. Even now, we all break down at some point when life just grinds us to the floor. But in all seriousness, it is really, really hard to hear someone that you deeply respect say something horrible about homosexuality, and for you to think they're talking about me and they don't know that they're talking about me, and you have to kind of live with that. So cry it out, and then stand up again and go into the next battle. Another point that they've put forward is to have a group text with LGBT friends where you can rant and rave in private. This is a great idea. If you're able to get to the stage where you can meet LGBT friends and you can talk to them, it would make such a big difference to your mentality. I do this often with my girlfriend. If we hear something homophobic in everyday life, that I will come home to her in the evening, I'll say, you won't believe what blah-de-blah said today, and you won't believe how I reacted to it, or I said nothing and now I'm ashamed that I said nothing, or whatever it might be. It makes a big difference to have someone else who is gay there to share these rants and raves with. And the last one I'll put forward here, if it helps, concentrate on the plus side of being in the closet. Let me get this straight from a gay perspective. The closet is a weird place. My closet was a strange place. Sometimes I pop in for another visit, very rarely when I'm hiding from someone unnecessarily. It's a weird place, but it is a safe place. And if you're in the closet and if you're remaining in the closet, it's for a very strong reason. It's because you're not ready to come out. It's because you feel the environment around you won't accept you. So try and see that as a positive thing. If you feel that you need that protection, then that's your protection and your right to have. As much as coming out in the long term worked out great for me, it was not easy, it was a long process, and I surely, for a number of years didn't think that it would end up being good. So I don't want to sit here and say to you, come out, it will be brilliant, everything will be great, because for a lot of people, no, it's not. So, embrace the safety of the closet, because much as it's turbulent and stressful and awful in a multitude of ways, it is above all safe. And also, this is something that's not on the list that I just like to put forward, is being gay is not my overarching label. I am thousands maybe of other things. And unfortunately, when you're in the closet, you tend to see being gay as your defining, identity. And once you come out, you'll find your true self. No, you're already yourself. You're already, a brilliant mathematician or a great singer or the person that makes everyone laugh. Those things are not going to change. So just remember that, yes, this is a difficult process for you being in the closet, but it's not all that you are. So I hope this video has helped in some way. If you're in the closet or you're out or whatever your situation is, write some suggestions below, because it can really help out gay people, particularly young gay people who are in the closet and going through a difficult time. Thank you very much for listening. Peace.